Cooking over a live fire makes my life more difficult and more fun at the same time. No stoves, no ovens, no microwaves. You have to constantly be feeding it and watching over it. I call it kind of like a needy boyfriend. Between the two fires, we put out 720 plates an evening. As sous chef here, I oversee prepping dishes and putting final touches on things, as well as making sure that the staff, the line cooks, the commis are all on track and on schedule for the day. It's 5 o'clock.
5.
Hi, I'm Sarah Baldwin. I'm the executive sous chef at Osito. Come on in. This is Osito Restaurant. We are a 100% live fire. Everything is burned through wood and we use coals to heat things up and cook. It's 8 a.m. and as exec sous, the first thing I do to start the day is to build a fire so we can get cooking. So here we have a little kit to start our fire today. The only use for this blowtorch in the restaurant is to build this fire. As much as I would like to say I use rocks, I'm not that good. We have menus from previous days that we're gonna use to crumple up to light and kindle. So I'm gonna curl up a couple of these first. We have smaller pieces of wood that'll catch a little bit faster. Setting up a little Lincoln log for ourselves. Intertwine our pieces of paper that we have twisted to kind of help catch fire. Here at Osito, we use a 50% almond and oak. From the almond, you'll get a little bit more of like a nutty flavor and a little bit fruitier. And then from our oak, you'll get something rounder and deeper for when we're smoking. When you're building a fire, the three things that are super important are to give it air, a heat source, and ventilation. I feel nothing anymore. And then right now what I'm doing is I'm starting to push our fire into the corners. By building it closer to one wall of the oven, as the fire builds and the air flows upward, it's going to push to the other side and then kind of climb back in. And that'll help us build a convection in the oven. So let's build a fire over here so we can start cooking over the hearth. What I'm looking for right now are just manageable pieces that'll catch quickly. This drier stuff that has moss on it will catch, so that will be more ideal for this application. See, our fire is getting pretty big over here. We're in a good place. So then I'm gonna take one of these smaller pieces and use it to build the new one. Everything has contact with some element of wood. Between the two fires, we'll be cooking enough food to put out about 720 plates an evening. I find it more satisfying to cook over fire because it takes a little bit more than turning a knob. If you want more heat, you have to feed the fire a little bit more to get more coals to then heat up your pot, and it kind of like feeds my brain in a different way. These fires seem to be lit and going. It's around 8:15, and at this time we're gonna write out our prep list for the day and get everyone on their tasks. As the opening sous chef, it's definitely more of my job to make sure that everything gets mapped out for the day. Our current menu is about 9 courses. It's composed of 20 plates. The way that we build the menu is based on seasonality, and currently we're doing a Game Birds menu. We were inspired a little bit by the holidays. All the components and the tasks that go into that are kind of going to be divvied up based on everyone's personal strengths. If I know that someone is like really great at kneading bread and portioning and forming, then I'm going to have them focus on that, and then someone else is going to pick the garnish for that same plate. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so it's about 8:30 and we're gonna get started on 7 ducks a peckin and break down some ducks. These are beautiful ducks that we get in from Liberty Ducks in Sonoma. This is gonna be a cross between a Muscovy and a Peking duck. So it's gonna be a little bit bigger than the average duck that you see. The top here is the neck, and it has all this extra fat, and I'm just gonna take it off so I can get to other parts of the duck a little bit easier, but we will be saving this fat. From here, I'm gonna grab the front and I'm gonna feel for the wishbone, tip my knife above where I would feel the bone, kind of get my hand in, put my finger around to kind of loosen it up from the breast meat and make my way up, pull out, and break it off, and then you see here we have the wishbone. Flip the bird over, and I'm gonna get the wings. I'm gonna use the weight of the duck to kind of help me maneuver and find my way to the bone. So this is pretty much like the armpit of the duck. Make a little incision here. And then as I pull back, see the joint pop out a little bit. Follow it with my knife. The 7 ducks of pecking is gonna be the full utilization of the duck. We're using the breast meat that we make into prosciutto. We also use the duck liver. We make a mousse out of that. We grill it in cabbage and wrap it up, and it's filled with a pineapple guava jelly. We have a course that uses the duck brain with a little bit of embered sunchoke. Brains are kind of a softer texture. It's kind of similar to like panna cotta, and I'm sorry for the visual that I just created, but it's true. The casserole dish that we have on the menu currently, that was a dish that I created. For that course, we're taking all of our duck wings and braising them in duck stock. On top of that, we have creamed spinach, black trumpet mushrooms with truffle, and we top it with crunchy scallions. This knife is a Toji Hiro Honesuki, a knife that's designed for butchery, and it has an angled tip that makes it a little bit easier to wedge your way in when you're trying to separate meat from the bone. We usually butcher about 10 ducks a week. These are pretty generous size, so we're able to utilize a lot of it for multiple people. The duck carcass is here. Spend some time in our wood fire oven and roast, and then we're going to make a duck stock, which then goes back into braising the duck wings that we previously talked about. And that's it. It's about 9:30. So we're gonna get these bones roasting and moving on to our next project, which is the dashi, which is a Japanese broth that is gonna be put into our chawanmushi dish. Let's go. Yeah. I'm just getting some water in a pot here to bring to a boil to start making my dashi. Chawanmushi is a steamed egg custard, normally found in Japanese restaurants. We're gonna season it with a little bit of white soy, and then all of our uni from the day before is actually gonna be blended into the base. In this coal harvesting, would you mind putting some under the chawanmushi guy? Of course. Thank you. The hearth here is kind of the lifeline of the restaurant throughout the day, throughout prep and throughout service. We're constantly feeding it wood so that we can build coals and then transfer it to wherever needed. And the bigger the pile and the closer up to the metal is gonna be how hot it's going to be. So to start the dashi base for our chawanmushi, I have some kombu here that I'm gonna have kiss the fire a little bit to impart some of that smoky flavor. Kombu is a seaweed that has been salt cured and dried. Rather than just being the umami that you get from seaweed, it'll have like a little bit of like a deeper flavor. I don't wanna burn it. I just kinda wanna see it start to ripple. We've had our water on the flat top here for a little bit. It's about the right temperature to start our dashi. So we have our torched kombu that we just did, and we're gonna pop that in there. And then these are dehydrated, smoked king trumpet mushroom stems. When we cut them up and portion them for service, I take all of the butts and I put it up top, dehydrate and smoke, just to like re-impart that flavor in the dish. Same idea with our mandarin skins. I just save all the peel and then I add that in here. And then classic bonito flakes, dehydrated flakes of fish that are typically from tuna. Adds a little bit of umami as well as a slight fish flavor. And then the last ingredient for this dashi is going to be some pine needles. It's gonna bring out the grassiness of all of our other ingredients. You might see a little bit of Asian influence in the food that I make because I am a hapa. My mom is Filipina and my dad is a Caucasian man. So I grew up kind of having a lot of traditional Asian treats as well as, you know, your stereotypical like Kraft macaroni and cheese. So I kind of like to think that the food that I make is a blend between the two. I'm gonna kind of mix it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna let this steep for about 20 to 30 minutes and strain. You don't want it to go any longer than that because the pine tends to turn bitter. So we just wanna make sure that we catch it before that point. All right, so our dashi is done. It's about 10:15, and we're gonna go on to our next project, which is making pate. The pate that we're making is gonna be pork butt and squab innards. We use pork butt because it's a nice ratio between fat and lean meat. It's always important for like the bite and the structure of the meat to have a good percentage of fat to meat. This pate kind of evolves with the seasons and what's available. Before it was persimmon and pear, but right now we have some like really beautiful dehydrated peaches, and I thought it might be a nice bright addition to this dish. This pate is served with our house-made milk bread. It has like a little bit of allium powder in there that we make in-house. So we take all of our scallion tops, throw them up top and use that as like our dehydrator. And then we grind it to a fine powder and fold it into our batter. Head over to the prep kitchen to bring down our meat grinder, and then we can start grinding our pate. So here we have all of our pork, and we're gonna season it with a mixture of cured salt as well as our fine sea salt. Then we're gonna get grinding. And start feeding some of the pork through. It's not exactly the most glamorous job, but someone's gotta do it. Oh yeah, meaty. The rehydrated peaches and figs that we are adding to our pate add a little bit of sweet and tartness. We have a lot of umami and savory notes, and this kind of balances it out. And when it's served with the jam, it kind of pops a little bit more. I rehydrated the peaches and figs with a little bit of white wine and warm spices, and then add our squab innards, a little bit of heart and liver, and we get about 40 squabs in a week. We want to use all the parts, so that's going to land in our pate this week. Very Valentine's Day oriented when you do this. What'd you do today? Just grind some hearts. The last bit is going in, and we're going to finish mixing everything in the kitchen. Next step is to add our eggs and our milk. So I'm going to make sure I break down these eggs a little bit better, and then we're going to start dumping into this Lexan. This is gonna make approximately 12 loaves, which will last us probably about a week, and then we'll start this whole process all over again. Doing bigger projects is more on my side because it has to be so precise as far as like measurements and consistency of the meat. So like right now you can kind of see there's separation between the meat and all of the liquid that we're adding to it. Once we fully emulsify it and mix it, you'll see that it'll bind and you won't see any separation. It'll just be like all one mass. She looks crazy right now, but I promise you it's pretty good. From here, I'm gonna start doing my favorite task and also workout. We're gonna start kind of self-emulsifying it like this, bringing the fat and the proteins together. As I'm doing this, it's starting to clump up a little bit, and that's like exactly what we're looking for. And then play whatever music you need to get you motivated for the last push. Oh yeah. So then, you know, I don't have to do arms today. As you can see, it's like starting to kind of like really stick together. It's pulling away from the edges, and it's kind of building more of a mass in the center. So we're almost there. Chef, sound-wise and feel-wise, it feels pretty tacky, right?
Yeah. Squeeze it. Yeah.
What sound are you looking for?
Like a... Basically, when you work it, the salt pulls the proteins out, and so the more you work it, the tackier it gets, and so you're listening for it to be really tacky in your hands.
I feel like we're there. Now I'm gonna put them in pans and cook them in the oven. As I fill the pate, I'm going to stud the top with a little bit more of that rehydrated fig. Let people know what flavor it is. Slam it down a few times to push out any air that might have happened while I was filling it. I'm gonna place it here in these hotel pans. We're gonna pour in our hot water bath. It's allowing it not to come from one heat source, but kind of all around, and it cooks a little bit more evenly. That'll keep the moisture in, but also emulsify at the same time. Boom. And then I'm gonna head this over to the oven. Ugh. Coming down, right behind, corner. Ugh. In she goes. Tend to load the pate pan in a little bit closer to the fire. You're gonna get more of like your higher, like 400-degree heat. They're gonna take about an hour. It's 11, we have about an hour to cook family meal, and I'm gonna go see what's in the back. The way to determine what we're gonna use for staff meal is, do we have anything that's excess and anything cooked off? So I kind of look through here and I see that there's some leftover chicken thighs from yesterday that weren't used for family, so I'm gonna scoop those up. We have some already cooked off pasta, and then I see that we also have arugula. We like to kind of centralize where all the things for family meal go, so it's a little bit easier for people to decipher what they're gonna make. We like to rotate staff meal so that everyone kind of has a chance to participate, and it's kind of their time to like show off what they can do and kind of experience something together. I think I'm gonna start smoking some chickens. Marinate it in a little bit of ginger scallion, and so I'm just gonna kind of pour it over. Scrummaged through people's stations to see what they had excess of or things that they weren't gonna use today for service. I'm gonna start skin side down to kind of help with making sure that it doesn't stick to the rack. A lot of the fat is gonna render out through that, so it'll create like a little layer between the rack and the meat. I like making family meal. It kind of breaks up the monotony of, everyday routine. I'm gonna put it up top to smoke. When I'm putting them up here, I'm gonna look for where the fire is. And obviously right above is gonna be the hottest and probably more likely to burn. But as you can see, there's like a little bit of smoke that pillows up to the side. And that's gonna give me a little bit more gentle heat, and it's gonna smoke it more evenly. I prefer smoking over grilling because I think it gives you a little bit more leeway. It's a little bit lower and slower. And so the likelihood of burning it is less. And also I think it makes the chicken a little bit juicier. And the next thing I'm gonna do is head over to the back and get some veggies for our noodles. I'm thinking I'm gonna go like yakisoba routes, and then I'm gonna use this cauliflower. I have some celery here. Take these noodles that are already cooked off and kind of kiss them on the plancha, get them a little seared up with some veggies. I prefer cooking on the plancha. Number one, less dishes, and number two, it's a larger flat surface, so I'm able to cook more food faster. Family meal in the mornings are for about 15 people, whereas at night it's about 20 to 25. And it's really important to have enough food for everyone so that everyone's geared up and ready to go for the day. I'm gonna start adding my nudes. It's a little hot. So I added a little bit of soy sauce, season everything a little bit more. Sesame oil burns easily, so I want to add it towards the end. Sacrificial noodle. All right, servable. I'm gonna check on my birds. It's a lot easier to work here if you're tall. I've been short my whole life, so I'm very crafty. The chickens are a little bit more opaque, and then you'll see that the skin has seized up a little bit and has a brown color to it. They look pretty good, but I want to get maybe the skin potentially a little bit crispy, so I'm gonna pop it in the oven for like 2 to 5 minutes, and then it's ready to go. We have some arugula here. This green salsa would be like a fun vinaigrette, so I'm gonna try it out and see what happens. I'm going in. Oh yeah. They're looking right tonight. All right. And lunch is served. It is 12:30. We just got back from lunch and we're about to go on a crab party.
Crab party.
Crab party. We like to get a couple of people together to harvest all of the meat off of the crab. Now, this is Dungeness crab. It's kind of like a hometown hero, and so whenever it's in, it's like a hot commodity and everyone tries to get it as much as possible. The part of the crab that I have here is the body. What I like to do is go in with my kitchen shears and build myself a little route so I can crack it in half and have access to most of the abdomen meat a little bit easier. And I'm gonna take my tweezers, pluck them out of there. The crab is used in our first snacks, served with the chawanmushi on a separate plate with a brain sauce on the bottom. And then on top is the harvested meat from this, a couple pieces of leg, and it's finished with our house-made fowl exo. Traditionally, it's made with dehydrated scallops and Chinese bacon. And here we've just used our duck prosciutto in supplement of the Chinese bacon. We have here a crab leg, and I'm gonna use my shears and come in on the side because we want it to be as whole as possible. I'm gonna go all the way through, shimmy the top off, and we have our whole leg here. Now we have a claw. I'm gonna take off this side first and kind of slowly wiggle out. And I'm gonna do the same thing that we did before with the leg with my scissors and try to build a path. Oh yeah. See there? You kind of cut through, pop the top off, and then I'm gonna hold on to the base and then pull out a little, oh, that was anticlimactic. Look at that little guy. We got the goods. Well, our crab party is officially over. A day in my life. All right. Behind, coming down, right behind, coming down, right behind. It's almost 2 o'clock. We're gonna get ready for our roundup meeting where we all kind of gather before the day and talk about anything that might be pertinent to service.
We want to do it right every time. We want to value the guests that are coming in.
The service here at Osito is different than other restaurants because we are one communal table. So it's just a matter of orchestrating the timing of everything so that everyone is accommodated in like a timely fashion. We only have one aversion today and it's one no shellfish. So that means we'll have like an uni supplement just to be safe. The expectations when coming in to eat here, I feel are a little bit higher than most restaurants due to, you know, recently being awarded a star. So it's important for us to kind of maintain that level and standard of excellence as much to our ability. So it's about 3 o'clock. I'm gonna go around the kitchen to make sure everyone's good for service and pick up any little tasks. Do we have more of this, by the way? Part of my job to go through and make sure that we have everything for service. I want to check the quantities, the quality. I like to also take note of like how quickly we're going through things to see if it needs to be done the next day. Yum. So we're checking in on our last batch of pate for the day. To make sure that it's ready, I'm gonna use my digital thermometer here, and I'm looking for an internal temperature of at least 131. We see we're a little bit over, which is great. Corner out, hot stuff.
Hot stuff.
All right, it's 5 o'clock. 5. We call back in this kitchen just to make sure that everyone heard that information, and that's my way of knowing and confirming that they heard what I said. We just got our reservation sheet for the evening. That means it's about 5:15. We open at 5:30. I hope you got an idea of what it was like to be a sous chef here at Osito. Unfortunately, you have to go, and we love seeing you soon. Bye. That's a wrap. Here at Osito, the man behind it all, Seth Stowaway. We call him Dad.